it's quite refreshing to play this game because over time games kind of navigate like towards kind of established conventions, and you breaking into the field pretty much from everybody in the team, like not having experience making the game, is
Hmm.
uh, involuntarily probably breaking those conventions.
Yeah.
So, for example, uh, there is a section. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there is a section where you have a map, and
Hmm.
you would kind of expect to know, like, have a pointer on the map. Oh, here you are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then in the game, there is no pointer, like a magic pointer where you are, because if you actually use a map in real
Yeah.
life, like not
Exactly.
Google Maps, but like real
Yeah.
life, you don't have a pointer. So, and then you have a puzzle out of this, which is kind of, it's a great thing to play a game once in a time, like play a game that will break the conventions that you're accustomed to and refresh your memory and refresh, like it's like a refreshing experience to do this. uh,
Yeah. We got lots of praise and lots of hate with that puzzle from the map because all players tend to uh, get reminiscent from the old games and have fun, like writing the map on a piece of paper. Because, like you said, the gram doesn't have like a magic pointer over the map. It's just opening the map and look at it. Um, and some people got frustrated. Some people, we got emails and messages that saying lots of praise because it reminded them of the games that actually challenge you, and you had to write a map. And when they wrote the map on a piece of paper, they got really satisfied because they achieved something. It's like beating the game. I'm gonna get you on the corner. I'm gonna write the map. I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna find every corner of the map. Yeah, there was a lot of self-conscious tropes on the point and click that we wanted to break, like the character in this type of game. Normally, you tend to gather lots of items, lots and lots, and you reach the end of the game with loads of items, and you tend to go to the frustration of using everything on everything, because okay, the piece of gum on this pile of dirt, and you get very silly on that. So from the start, we wanted the main character to drop things that he thinks he doesn't need it, just to minimize the frustration of this kind of trope on point and clicks.
yeah, and
Yeah,
and
and
he
we wanted to make the puzzles more grounded than usual. We had, I can spoil this, but in the demo, he reaches a house where he needs to find the crayon, and in we we purposely put the broom there so you can click on it, and people tend to, okay, so I need a pencil, so I'm gonna get a piece of wood, break it, rub it on the ash, and make a pencil. So when we ask people, and how many times did you did that in your life? So it's very game logic. So you have to break in. It's like a lesson at the beginning of the game. So if you're in another place, in another person's house, you ask for a crayon. You don't go rummage on the drawers of the persons uh, that lives there. So uh, that's kind of type of logic that we established, and we ran with it all the games. So the puzzles are very ground thinking, like
Yeah, they're grounded, much more grounded than usual, and especially more grounded than like the silly kind of
yeah.
comedy oriented adventure games. And one thing you mentioned I loved about the Night is Grey, the dispensing of unused items. So first of all, you limit the search space. So you limit this situation when you're trying every object on every other thing, but also you ground this in the narrative, and this is very rare. Like
Yeah.
in some games, you do see the situation when you have a lot of items and then you're thrown somewhere and you kind of lose all the items and you like well, whatever. But here, every time when you were using an item, Graham, which is the main character, either told you, "Oh, I'm not gonna use that," or it
Yeah,
broke
yeah,
trying to do
exactly.
this,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
things like that.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
How?
I'm glad that you noticed that because it took a lot of work. And for another reason that I can't say it's spoilery, but it was very difficult to manage all the items because the items, the way that you gather items and you the reason that you get rid of them, it's embedded in the story. So it's very difficult to manage and get reasons and logical reasons. So the character drops them, or they break, or they just ran out, like the tape. So normally, when you see people playing the game at streams, they get surprised that you use the duct tape, and the duct tape is still there on the because normally in this type of games that you use the tape, that's it. But no, the tape has more tape to it, so you keep using it till it ran out. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the type of grounded logic to everything. Like when you go to the trash, he doesn't want to touch the trash, but he has to have a reason to go to the trash. It's like in
yeah.
real life. You don't go to the trash and find something that, oh, okay, there's a bottle here. I'm going to keep it. No, you have to have a reason to keep the trash that you find. Yeah.
It's an interesting uh, play from your end, from the design perspective, where you're trying. On one hand, you're designing a game, so you expect players to do playery things, like
Yeah.
clicking on trash things,
Yeah.
and expecting to find things there.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you're trying to mimic the real life, and but therefore breaking the player conventions. Do you
Mhm.
have something like a learnings from this? How far can you go with the breaking conventions?
Yeah, that's a good question because we there are a lot of um, we wanted to make that from the beginning to be very grounded on the reasons that you get stuff. But we know that players are playing a game for to having fun, but they tend to do stuff. And when you limit them to, okay, I want to go to the trash, and the character says, I don't want to go to the trash because I don't have a reason to go there. And this frustrates some players because they want to have the liberty to do whatever they want. That's why they are playing a game. But narratively, it's difficult to just um, you lose some part of the credibility of the story where you don't limit the player to do such types of things because he's going to go trashing everything, grabbing everything. It's kind of silly. There's a part of the game that we purposely done to mock this type of tropes also, where you can right click to to inspect stuff, and if you inspect it, this type of gram always speaks out loud, okay, and if you and the player doesn't realize that he's speaking out loud, and it's silly because no one talks out loud for everything. Just they speak on in their mind. But if you say something for a very story specific near Anna, Anna will comment on it. What are you talking about? And he says, why are you eavesdropping? I'm not eavesdropping. I'm right here. I'm listening to you. So that part, you get self-conscious how silly it is, someone going around and talking to himself out loud, grabbing stuff. So that's the part that we try to add humor to it, but it's very difficult to manage the expectations of the player that is playing a game, wants to touch everything and grab everything, but you have to limit the player, especially if you are playing in a world that you recognize. So when you go to the kitchen, there's a lot of items on the kitchen. So we had to design the game so we had to get rid of all the items that wouldn't make sense. Uh, if you need to cut a rope, we have to remove all the types of knives. So and at the same time look like a believable kitchen. So a kitchen with no items, it's kind of weird. So you had to carefully place the items that the player won't get interest at all while solving the puzzles. There were many times that we were going to create these puzzles, and there was elements already planted on the scenario that we had to remove because okay, if the player gets this, then he'll probably need this one or think about this to use on another type of item. So remove it. So that's why it's difficult to create a game that's set in our days. Because people recognize everything and they get it's like getting bits at your own ass when you get more grounded and people get okay, so it's grounded, okay, I'll just pick a chair, but you can't pick a chair. It's difficult to manage, yeah.